friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi and welcome. I'm Joanne. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to share with you guys my August bullet journal setup. I've gone with this really fun and summery sort of road trip camper van vibes, and I'm so happy with all the bright colors. It turned out so fun, so I can't wait to share the whole process with you guys. In this setup, I'm mainly using my Crayola markers. These are the Crayola Super Tips. I've used a few others as well, and as usual, I will link everything in the description box below, but mainly I'm using these for this setup. As usual, I will also be sharing an update about my chili garden at the end of this video. A lot has happened, so stay tuned for that, and now let's get right to it. I'm starting with the cover page. I've already mapped it out in pencil and I'm just so excited for this cover page. I had been kind of like envisioning it in my mind for a while, so I'm so excited to see it come to life now with the fine lining and outlining. I'm drawing this like Volkswagen Beetle sort of like retro RV van. I don't know if this is a real van they actually make, probably not, but I just liked the look of this van and then I decided to add the Volkswagen logo because I thought it really gave that like retro feel. So yeah, no idea if this is a real van or not, but I added in some details like lights and shutters and I added the tires, and then I really wanted to mix sort of like realistic art and sketching with more doodly components. So the trees are quite doodly, whereas the van has a little bit more like realistic detail. And then I'm adding in these mountains in the back that are like a bit more on the realistic side. And then the sun rays are of course much more doodly. So yeah, I tried to like mix this sort of realism and doodling. Let me know what you guys think about that, but I tried to carry that theme throughout this month's setup. I'm really liking this font and I just love this color that I've used here. And now to make the mountains a little bit more realistic, I'm going in with my fine liner and just adding some shading and hatching, and that gives it a little bit of dimension and sort of 3D effect. So yeah, it's really contrasting with those like really two-dimensional sort of cartoony Christmas looking trees, even though they're meant to just be regular trees. And now I'm just coloring everything in. I definitely knew I wanted to do a red RV camper, and I'm so glad I went with that like scarlet kind of orange red that I did the title in. I think this is just like the perfect color. It really pops, and you'll see me carry this color throughout the whole month's setup, and I think it's just so perfect for this month's theme. Then to finish it off, I'm just adding a little bit of shading. I'm using this sort of like blue-gray. I didn't want the mountains to be too blue or like too cartoony, so yeah, just a little bit of shading in that blue-gray. I'm sticking to the circular outline I sketched out earlier, but I won't be drawing the circle. I'm just gonna kind of leave it as is within the circle. I wanted to do something on the sort of ground in the background. I didn't want to just leave it blank. It was looking a little bit incomplete, so I just went with this like kind of mid-brown and hopefully sort of ties it all together. I unfortunately forgot to press record on the quote page, so here is the quote and cover page. For the mood tracker this month, I decided to use an idea. I think I used it in May last time, where I just used the calendar page as the mood tracker. I never really use the calendar anyways, except to refer to it, so it saves me a spread to just combine them. I'm writing out the word August in this sort of like doodly calligraphy font, and I really like this font for this month because it fits my goal of like mixing sort of realistic art drawings with more doodles. And then I'm gonna draw this like sort of road sign. I felt inspired by, you know, when you're on like road trips and there's like a diner, kind of a road stop diner. That was sort of the vibe I was going for with this sign. Using the same scarlet red. I'm just loving this red so much, and that same blue that I used in the mountains on the cover page. And I'm just gonna write mood tracker in this, and I think the sign really like works perfectly on this page. For the habit tracker on the opposite page, I'm going back to one of my all-time favorite layouts for the habit tracker. I'm using that same scarlet red color and the same font as the cover page to write out habit tracker on the top. And then I'm going to be using the layout of like writing the calendars in a sort of like checkerboard pattern. So laying them out here, and then I have doodles in between. I just find this so cute, and it gives me like usually 6 or 8 habits, and that's perfect amount. And it also gives me some space to doodle. The drawback is you have to write the numbers out so many times and my hand gets so tired, but it's always worth it because I just love looking at it every month and every day when I'm filling out my habits. So in the blank spaces, I'm just adding various doodles that I sort of associate with like road trip, summer driving vibes. And I'm using like the tire, the mountains from the cover page. I have a driver's, like not a driver's license, a license plate in the center, and just other things that I think of when I think about summer road trips. Like here I have a coffee cup, kind of thinking like Tim Hortons vibes, but without making it like explicitly Tim Hortons. And I'm just shading that in. And then in the corner, I decided I really wanted to draw like a rear view mirror. I don't know if this really looks like one. I hope you guys can see that it's a rear view mirror. I did my best with it. On the next page, I decided I really wanted to add like a summer bucket list. I make a summer bucket list every year, but I've never done one in a bullet journal before, so I thought this would be the perfect spread to add before I start the weekly layouts. So I'm making this sort of grid, and it will have, I guess it has 10 spaces in total, and you can see I got so excited I already started sketching some out, but I won't be sharing that in this video just yet. I will definitely be sharing later though what I end up doodling and what my summer bucket list is, so stay tuned for that. Also let me know in the comments if you have any ideas of what I should add to my summer bucket list. And on this last page here that I have before I start the weekly spreads, I decided to do another gratitude spread, just super simple, using the same fonts as the other pages, and then drawing out 31 circles, so one for each day of the month, where I can write down every day what I'm grateful for. I decided to add these tree doodles in the bottom. I don't know, I'm not loving these trees, to be honest. Throughout this whole theme, they were not my favorite, but I felt like I was committed to them already, so here we go. The first weekly spread is only 5-day weeks, so I have a little bit of flexibility here for this one. I'm writing out the month and calendar layout in the top left, and then I'm using my grid spacer ruler that I created in my 2023 bullet journal setup. I've linked that video below if you want to check that out to see how I created this, but it just helps me lay out the boxes evenly without having to count the dots every single time. So I decided to do 2 vertical and 3 horizontal since it's perfectly 5 days. I'm using the same blue dots that I've been using on the gratitude page. It's the same blue color from the mountains, so it's all kind of tied together. I'm using that same sort of calligraphy doodly font, and then just adding a couple doodles in the blank spaces that tie together with the cover page. Second weekly spread is going to be one of my favorites, but I'm keeping it very simple. I spent a lot of time on the cover page and I was just running out of time a little bit for this month's setup, so keeping it super simple, using that blue color and writing the numbers across around the 40% mark just to leave myself a bit more space below to write in them. And then I'm writing the days of the week directly on top of the letter, and I just really like this look, and it's super simple to set up because you don't need to draw any boxes or any lines really. Adding a to-do list on the left, and then I decided to add like song lyrics that really remind me of road trips. So of course, country roads, we can't leave that one out. and I just added the lyrics here in the same calligraphy font. And then I also wrote "Life is a Highway" up top. I know it's super cheesy, but I feel like these songs really represent summer road trips to me. The next spread is another super simple one. It's a full week, so I'm laying out 3 boxes on the left and 4 on the right, and then I'll just be coloring in that top bar, and that's literally it. You can of course add doodles to this, but I was a bit tight for time, so I just left it as is. I didn't have any gray weekly spreads yet, so I used the gray for these boxes, but you could use any color here that suits your theme. For the third full week of August, I'm using a new weekly spread layout that I haven't tried before. I saw it on a couple other creators' sites and some photos online, and it's sort of this like mind map appearance, if you remember those from school, but you have something in the center, like it could have been the name of the month, but I left that in the top left to be consistent. So I drew this license plate in the middle, and then I wrote the days of the week around it. And so yeah, let's see how this works out. I'm not sure how much I'll like it when I'm actually using it, but let's see. And then I just added a few more doodles around the edges. Last week of August is also only 5 days, just like the first one, so it was perfect for this spread. I did 2 on the left and 3 on the right, just like before, and I haven't done my sort of feature page spread in a couple months, and I really wanted to do one here. I think I did it in June actually, but I didn't really like it, so I really wanted to do it here, and I sort of had this vision of like a camper van parked for the night and like camping next to the van, and that was like the scene I wanted to try drawing. So I'm drawing the same van from the cover page, but this time like side on instead of like a perspective view like it was on the cover, and I drew the door open and sort of this like awning kind of pulled out and staked into the ground. This is what I was going for anyways, and then next to the camper van I've drawn just this like little campsite and a tent, and yeah, I just feel like it's really cozy and really gives that summer vibe. I just can really picture like a family camping out by the fire and just enjoying nature and the good weather. I realized I drew the van parked like perpendicular across the road, which is probably not great, not very nice of him, but anyways, it looks really cool in this drawing. I really liked how it looked, so that's okay. I'm just adding some color now to the rest of the spread. I've already shaded in the mountains and trees in a really similar way that I did on the cover page and in the other spreads, and then it was just looking really incomplete. I was a bit hesitant to like do a solid color across the whole page like I'm doing right now. I didn't want it to look like too two-dimensional or sort of like bright or in your face, but I didn't want to leave it blank either. So I went with this green just for grass. I did consider the brown like on the cover page, but I thought that'd be too much. So I went with the green, and then I decided to draw this sunset. My Crayola markers they're not the best at blending, so I'm just taking the darker color and kind of bringing it down into the lighter colors to sort of manually blend it a little bit better. And then once I've drawn the sunset colors in the sky, I'm going to bring in some of that yellow into the grass to add some like reflections and a little bit of dimension, and I'm adding a little bit of darker green to create some shadows as well. Last but not least, I have my notes page. You guys know I always need a notes page. I just really find this so important, and please excuse how messy my desk was. This was a very colorful theme, as you can see. I had so many pens out at this point. On the very last page, I really wanted to do this art page, and it seemed kind of thematic to me that on the cover page I had the van like driving towards you, and so on the last page I wanted to have the van driving away, sort of like the end or like the closing of the month. And actually this spread just turned out so chef's kiss. I just love how this looks, and it was just so simple yet perfect that I think this page may have been my favorite from the entire theme for August. I just drew the back of this van, and again, I don't know if Volkswagen makes a van like this. I was sort of pulling different components from different pictures I saw online that I liked. Like for example, I think Jeep has this sort of like back door, and like a RAV4 has this sort of like spare tire on the side. Anyways, I just took various elements that I thought looked good. Adding the mountains on the horizon, and I didn't add trees here because I didn't really like them throughout the theme. Maybe that's why I liked this spread so much. Maybe I should have just stuck with mountains, but anyways, now that I've drawn it all out, I went with a super cheesy quote, but I was really feeling it, and I wrote "Adventures on your horizon" because I was a bit inspired by the fact that this van is like driving towards the horizon. Finally, I'm just adding some color, and that's it for this page. And this is the final flip through. I'm so happy with how this turned out, way better than I had envisioned. I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments what is your favorite weekly spread in this theme and what you think of this theme. And that's all for this month. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed watching me set up my August bullet journal, and I'm just so happy with how this one turned out. I can't wait to be using it, so stay tuned for lots of shorts to come on how I'm using this bullet journal this month. If you enjoyed watching this video, please hit that like down below and subscribe as well if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next month. Bye friends!